Hi team, Paul here from PC Laboratories to introduce the new 3-step and 2-step kits. Now we've gone away from the liquid and we've introduced step 3 as a capsule. We were getting feedback that the liquid was a little bit hard to use practically, and so capsules are what people are after. Capsules is what we have delivered. So you've got the new slightly larger kits to fit the 180 capsule product in there. There's double the amount of CLA per serve now as well, and at no extra cost, delivered in a convenient capsule form. Now, while we're here and introduce the kits, I thought I'd also go into a bit more of the science behind how they work. We've uncovered a little bit more information to give you a better cornerstone on how to explain this to any pharmacy rep or workout or health food or any clinician as well. So it's quite exciting actually, and this has now been confirmed by AI that this is a very elegant, perfect solution, and we'll explain why. So to start with, we can claim that we can burn abdominal and thigh fat permanently. How does this occur? So we'll start with step 3. CLA, you take it, and CLA is a fatty acid, and the only fat that allows in the body that allows CLA in is white subcutaneous adipose fat. So like palmic, stearic and oleic acid will conglomerate in these fatty cells, so will CLA. Those other fats don't turn on anything, they get stored as fuel. The cell, that fat cell, still does the same with CLA. It goes, all right, there's fuel, let's store it for later. However, CLA activates part of the DNA genome, which says, all right, we need to destroy this cell. We need to make this cell apoptic, which means that it actually conglomerates amino acids to form the protein P53. So it enters the cell like a spy and pulls the self-destruct switch. No other fatty acid can do that. CLA does that. For example, it's when the body knows a cancer cell is a cell to get rid of, it activates the P53 enzyme in that cancer cell, so it goes through destruction and removal. Same with CLA in this white subcutaneous adipose tissue. It actually activates the protein creation through a switch saying let's destroy this cell. The issue with that is when a cell goes through apoptosis, a fat cell, macrophages surround it and remove it. So it's not actually metabolized, and it's quite hard to remove. You need a lot of conditions of the right levels of iron and zinc and vitamin C amongst other things. You need to be well hydrated, the liver must be functioning, and your detox protocols in the body must be really efficient to get rid of this apoptic fat cell that CLA creates. And what happens is the CLA creates that P53, destroys the cell wall, and the cell wall is what we call blebs, goes through blebbing and gets destroyed. Then macrophages surround it, and we need to flush it out of our system, but it's very hard to do. So how do we get this to occur? We need to be in a caloric deficit, which is what step 1 does. Step 1 gets the body into a caloric deficit, and then the body says, okay, we don't need to dispose of it through macrophages. Let's release the macrophages because we need energy, and the macrophages are surrounding these long-chain fatty acids that are now sitting there waiting to be removed because of the apoptosis that the CLA created. So we're getting quite deep here. But in the deficit, the body releases the macrophages and now it has an energy source. But the only way a long-chain fatty acid can be metabolized, and that's the fatty acid released when we go through apoptosis in these areas, is if we have enough carnitine in the blood. And so we don't make a lot of carnitine. We add step 2, which is carnitine in. Now the situation is elegantly perfect. We've destroyed the cell by igniting the DNA to create enzyme P53. The cell wall blebs, it gets surrounded by macrophages for it's a very difficult removal, but because we're in a deficit, those macrophages get released, the long-chain fatty acids get released for fuel, which can't be metabolized unless we've got carnitine. And then you can see, once that cell has been blebbed and destroyed and metabolized, it is permanently gone. And usually those cells go through liposis, so they shrink, but the buckets are still there, they'll refill back up again. This is the only process other than liposuction that is scientifically proven by AI, has gone through this and gone, this is elegantly perfect to burn that stubborn body fat for good. So really exciting to go through the research, go through the confirmation and uncover the finer science behind how this is actually working. And then we have the weight loss support kit, which has step 1 removed from the pack. It's more affordable and it goes onto every Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, any semaglutide product. What's happening with these products for weight loss, they will work on the on blood sugar level regulation, etc., and insulin regulation for a little bit of fat loss, but most of the fat loss occurs because the GLP-1 agonist activates satiety in the brain and people just don't eat. So they get on this huge calorie deficit and the body goes into gluconeogenesis, which is the release of muscle tissue into amino acids. Those aminos get converted by the liver to glucose and they're burning muscle for fuel. And that's going to lead to so many issues down the track, metabolic syndromes, loss of bone muscle density, etc. People in their 20s are getting osteopenia from this compound, which can be stopped if they were using this. So what we're doing is we know that Ozempic and other semaglutides, GLP-1 agonist products, create a huge calorie deficit, which is the main reason for weight loss, which is muscle loss. We can destroy abdominal fat, and then the calorie deficit releases that fat as fuel. And then if they don't have carnitine in the system, it redeposits, because they can't use it, back as abdominal and thigh fat. And so this then metabolizes it. So this has to go with any semaglutide product, so really easy for a pharmacist to recommend that they add this to any Ozempic-like product to stop the negatives and to permanently burn abdominal and thigh fat. They're the new kits. Now we've gone a bit more into the science. If you have any questions, just let us know. But really excited about the AI confirmation and the finer scientific points about these amazing, elegantly perfect, permanent abdominal thigh fat loss stacks. PC Labs 3-step and the weight loss kit.